3 months since the practice makeover team invaded Matt Archer and Nina O'Neill's practice in North Carolina. When last we saw them, they were embarking on the journey of adding a robo element to their practice. Now we're going to sit down with them, get their perspective on the process, and find out how things have changed. So good to see you guys again after 3 months.
It's great to see you, Matt.
Yeah, great to see you.
So what's been happening since we last saw you guys in Raleigh?
A lot. So we definitely went into this thinking we were going to implement a little something into our practice that was technology based. I, as everybody knows, was very excited about it. What actually happened was a practice makeover. Really, so many things have changed in such an exciting way. It's been difficult. We had some hiring and staffing changes, so we can talk a little bit more about that, but that's been a big thing. We've changed broker-dealers, which for any independent practice is a huge undertaking, but again, we found necessary for what we wanted to do to move forward. And then also we found out a lot about compliance around this whole industry new thing. So everybody's kind of looking at this going, what is it, how does it work? And we had to actually get our feet wet and get our hands dirty. And we found that there's a lot to it. And so it's been, I think, around 100 days since we saw you, and I'm tired. It's been a lot.
Yeah. Three months, basically crammed 2 years into 3 months, I would say. It's been absolutely overwhelming, but it's been a lot of fun.
I want to take some of those things one by one. Matt, talk to me a little about the staffing changes. What did you guys have happen?
Yeah, that was a big change. Lauren, who was with us, decided that she was going to move out of the area, so we lost her right as we were moving into the transition into our new BD. So it's been a huge challenge with that, and disappointing, but Adam has stepped up and is doing a fantastic job, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about that, but he's moving forward and taking on some new roles and responsibilities, and it's been great.
Tell me a little about Adam's new role.
So Adam's new role is Lauren's old role. So he's now managing our operations, and he has fully taken over the change of broker-dealer management and done an amazing job. And through talking with Ray, we really had to look at what are we going to do, because we need the extra staff. We don't have the ability to go down to one person. We need at least two to support us. And so we said to Ray, okay, well, we're going to do this. And then he said, well, I think you should consider moving Adam ahead even further. And it's not that we hadn't considered it. It's just I think we were just looking at replacing Lauren and not really thinking about anything else. And so we're going to move Adam into more of an advisory role. He'll begin a licensing process, and we've talked to him about that. He's very excited. So in every bad thing, good things can come out of it. So I think he's been able to accelerate his path. Mm-hmm. And with Ray's coaching and encouragement, we've, I think, clarified what that is and are very confident that he'll do a great job with it.
Absolutely.
So a broker-dealer change is one of the biggest things that can happen for a small firm. Talk to me about how it happened and why it happened.
Yeah, it's a huge change, a huge commitment, a huge process, and we did a lot of investigation. We looked at a ton of different firms, really excited where we ended up. It was something that, going through this process, we realized we needed to make a change, and we're extremely excited about it. I know Nina and I talked about it, and we thought, hey, maybe next year. But what we found out with some of the compliance things that are going on with implementing the robo-platform or the technology platform, we really had to move forward with a new BD. And that's something that we hadn't planned on. So,
no.
And like I said, cramming 2 years into 3 months it's been crazy.
If we want to really do this and we want to move forward with what this show was all about, which is really the technology and helping our clients, then we have to make that broker-dealer change.
Yeah.
Which has been like ripping off a Band-Aid and just kind of dealing with the short-term hurt for the long-term gain.
But I'll tell you, though, the interesting thing with the change was that, talking to these firms when we were investigating it, there's a lot of firms that aren't on board with the technology and really don't want their advisors to go down that path. And I think, Triad was one of those that really is looking at it as a great opportunity. And I think that's one of the reasons why we ended up there. But also, it's a huge process. It is a big process for these firms to take a look at everything that's involved with implementing that. Conversations with Ray, conversations with Aaron. There was so much going on behind the scenes, conversations probably 2 or 3 times a week about what we should do to make this happen.
To continue to move forward.
So you've changed broker-dealers. Do you have people on your robo-platform now?
We have finalized the process of getting on board. So this week we were able to open a couple of accounts.
Wow.
And the process is so cool. I
Yeah.
mean, the technology is awesome. It's what I wanted and saw it as our vision years ago
Yeah.
when I said, we really just want the ability to easily work with us. So it's amazing, the risk-alized software, the CLS management. It's a beautiful marriage
Yeah.
that Autopilot is.
Yeah,
And,
Autopilot's been fantastic, and the two firms working together to make this happen has been fantastic. They've done a great job. It hasn't been easy, but we're there now, and implementing this and putting the first clients onto this platform it's been fun.
Did you guys ever reach a point throughout these 3 months where you said, I'm tapping out, I'm not going to do this,
How
this
many
is
times did I
overwhelming."
quit?
Yeah,
That was the
couple
joke.
times, yeah.
I kept quitting.
Yeah.
I quit my job.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
We've gone through a lot together. I mean, we started working together in the financial crisis, so we joke we're used to operating under something.
Yeah.
The year's been hard, if you look at just from an investment standpoint, and managing money. So
Yeah,
we joke about it,
Yeah, we joke
but-
about it all the time. But if it's not a challenge, why would you do it? So I think that's part of the business and being an entrepreneur and taking on the challenge. The industry's changing. It seems like on a monthly basis with everything going on from the robo-advisor to the DOL stuff. I mean, everything. There's something always changing, and I think that's what's unique about the industry. And I think you have to be ahead of the game, and we're trying to do that, and that's why this has been such a positive experience.
And it's easy to do nothing.
Yeah.
We could have said, you know what, great show. It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
We don't have time to deal with that right now. We'll get to it when the industry gets to it.
And we had that conversation.
And we
with
talked
Ray.
about that.
Yeah.
Is this really? And I don't want to be 10 years from now going, man, I had these resources and this opportunity, and I missed it because I just didn't want to put in the work.
Yeah.
And that's not Matt and I's personality. It's not our nature to just sit back and take the easy route.
When you had your chat with Aaron, the thing that turned both you guys off was the idea of tiering your practice. Now, have you guys made any decisions? Are you deciding? Have you thought about tiering your practice?
Yeah, tiering the practice. That's been a conversation that Nina and I for a long time, and she's always been very against it. I've been not necessarily against it, thinking that we need to do that as we move forward. And I think the interesting thing, and I know a lot of people want to know what we're going to do, and I think based on dealing with Ray and all the things that we've talked about, we're definitely going to look at tiers, and we're going to look at segmentation. But it's different than probably what most advisors are thinking in segmentation and tiering.
And not necessarily asset-based. Like, you have $1 million, so you get this, or you have $5 million, you get this. It's based on the need. So we can sit down with a client. Mostly this will be more new clients moving forward, but really assess what their need is from a planning standpoint and really focus more on our planning capabilities. And then the investment management obviously will continue to do. But and when we say tiers, we're looking at more how much do they need, how much planning gets involved, what service do they need from us. And then also that has to do with Adam's integration into more of an advisory role and moving into that, because he can really, I think, help us a lot more than we've probably allowed anyone ever to. And that has to do with delegation, which, both of us just, we joked one night, we want to be all to everyone, and we care about the people that we work with, and we are pleasers, but that's not reality for forever. So we're trying to make sure that mindset for the company is still there, and that we are able to continue to grow and accommodate and not start to kind of flounder and plateau.
If you could give one piece of advice to advisors thinking about a robo journey, what advice would you give?
Look before you leap, which is always that's part of the show, is how I'm more impulsive, he's more analytical. And really understand your state laws around what it is to implement a robo. I don't know if you know, but it's actually a solicitor's agreement, which is the arrangement, and there are different rules for that, different things that you need to know before you go into that. Not a bad thing, just understanding it so that you can implement it more easily. Making sure you're with a compliance department that is definitely understanding of what this is and how it's going to be used, how to move forward with it. And I think just being open-minded to the process and what the end result can be, and looking forward and not getting caught up in the mechanics of it as you're trying to implement it. And I really think understanding it from an implementation of your practice across a lot of different ways, not just as it's the grandson, he's got $5,000, we're sticking him on the online portal. That's, I think, a dangerous way to look at that. There are compliance issues around just doing that as well, from what we understand. So I think that's my biggest advice, is really understand it before you go into it. And I've learned a lot in that regard.
So Matt, last question to you then. What's next? What's next for Archer? What's next for the management?
Yeah. What's next for the management? What's next for Archer? We've got to go out and hire someone. We've got to look at the direction and finalize some of the segmentation that we've talked about in service models. And I think, and then grow. And actively, I think we're actively seeking to purchase a business, and that's an exciting opportunity for us as well. I think that the whole process, I would tell people, don't be afraid of looking at this opportunity. I know it's not right for everybody. I mean, I think some of the conversations we've had, I do fear the true robo structure where there's really limited client interaction with someone on the back end. That's the one thing I do fear in the industry. I think that's something bad could happen, and that's my concern. But I think for us, we're excited, we're growing, we're in the right spot, and we're young and ready to roll with it. And I think the management over here, I think, is excited about it.
Well, I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited that you got a real practice makeover, because that's something that we've been trying to accomplish since we launched this show, is to really help firms. And I'm glad that we had that opportunity to do that with you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for being a part of this, and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
We thank you
Appreciate it,
very,
Matt.
very much.